It is the end of an era at Real Madrid, as reported by Fabrizio Romano earlier today. Carlo Ancelotti is set to step down as a coach in June. He will not even coach the Club World Cup for Real Madrid. And he's set to become the new head coach of the Brazilian national team. And this story is huge, man. This is a huge story. Carlo Ancelotti, in my opinion, Real Madrid's greatest ever manager, is leaving after 4 seasons at the club. And he's set to become the new head coach of the greatest national team of all time. There's so many angles to hit the story from, and we're going to hit it from every single angle. You best believe we will hit it from every single angle. That is a sexual joke in case you were not aware. But anyway, first, I want to talk about what I believe Carlo Ancelotti's legacy is at Real Madrid. Second, I want to talk about who I believe Madrid should bring in to replace him, or who I think they're going to bring in to replace him, and what that squad could obviously do with that new manager. And third, I want to talk about what Carlo Ancelotti could possibly do with the Brazilian national team, because he's going to coach them through the 2026 World Cup. Obviously, it's going to take place here in the United States, and Mexico, and Canada. And, can he bring them back to relevancy? Because we know Brazil has been shit for the past, 7-8 years, and they're getting arguably the greatest knockout style manager of all time. So I want to talk about all those 3 angles today. Let's start off with the one that I said we're going to talk about first, which is, of course, what is Carlo Ancelotti's legacy at Real Madrid? I said it earlier in the video, about 30 seconds ago, but I'm going to say it again. In my opinion, he's their greatest ever manager. Now, Real Madrid fans might disagree with that. They might say it's Zidane. They might say it's Del Bosque. In my opinion, it's Carlo Ancelotti. When you look at what he did in those 2 stints at Madrid, winning them La Decima back in 2014, winning them 2 UCLs, obviously in 2022 in Paris, and then obviously last year in Wembley, winning them multiple La Ligas, winning them the Copa del Rey. I mean, the guy has won so much silverware for that club. It's actually ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He broke a drought of, 12 years without Madrid winning a UCL. He did that. He brought Real Madrid their 10th UCL. Real Madrid, the greatest ever club in the history of that competition, went 12 years, I believe, without winning a UCL. Maybe it was more, but I think it was 02 the last time they won it. They won 12 years without a UCL. Carlo Ancelotti came in, and thanks to Ramos, and thanks to Di Maria, and thanks to Ronaldo, I get it, but he came in, and he won them La Decima. And then the second stint, bro, coming off that time where Ronaldo left, they were kind of in no man's land. Yes, they had Benzema. Yes, they had that young guy, Vinicius Jr., who could end up being good, but nobody really knew. And Carlo Ancelotti comes in, and what does he do? He wins multiple UCLs once again, because that's what he does. He wins the UCL. This guy wins trophies wherever he goes. And look, I'm not here to tell a rival fan base how they should feel about their manager, because that's not my I'm not going to say that's not my thing. That makes no sense. I don't think that's okay, because, again, I'm a Barca fan. A lot of Madrid fans might not care about my opinion on what I think you guys should think about with Carlo Ancelotti, if that makes sense. Like, you guys shouldn't care about what I think about what you should think about Carlo Ancelotti. Maybe that made it more confusing, but you guys get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to sit here and act like you guys are ungrateful to Ancelotti, or you guys should be nicer to him, because, again, he's your manager. You can feel however you want about him. But in my opinion, for the most part, he's been mistreated by Madrid fans this season. He's been giving the short end of the stick for the season that Madrid have had. And we know that Madrid have not had a great season. In large part, that's because of Carlo Ancelotti. I want to say this. I think they're making the right decision letting him go. I don't think Carlo Ancelotti should coach another season at Real Madrid. I don't think he should do it. I think his time there is done. His time at Real Madrid is done. He's not good enough to coach that team, and we saw it this year. They've been incredibly underwhelming, and the patterns of play that Madrid have, they don't really have any. Their team don't press as a unit. His squad selection at times is questionable. His substitutions are questionable. He lost his fastball, I believe. Or maybe his message just grew stale with the players in Madrid. We saw Courtois talk shit about him. We saw Bellingham come out and say some comments about, the play style. So obviously the players they're not in tune with his message anymore. But I think that when you look at that Madrid team and the players they lost coming into the season, you can't just blame it on Ancelotti. They lost Toni Kroos, one of the greatest players in the history of the game. And coming off arguably his best season. When Toni Kroos retired last year, he was in the contention for the Ballon d'Or. That's how good he was. They lost Joselu, who, granted, not some phenom. They don't win that UCL if it's not for Joselu. They needed Joselu last season. They lost Nacho, a captain for them, a club legend, if you want to call it. I don't know if he's a club legend, but an all-time great for that club. And they didn't replace him. Dani Carvajal tore his ACL. They didn't bring anybody to replace him in the summer. He lost a bunch of key pieces. And yes, they had to kill Mbappe, but still, man, you need, that Madrid team is top heavy as fuck, but on paper, they're not that deep. They're just not that deep of a team. And last year, he was able to pull it off, because last year, man, that's in my opinion, one of the greatest managerial seasons a manager's had in recent history. He lost to one manager all year. Madrid lost to one team all year last season. It was Atletico Madrid. They won the UCL, he went through the likes of Thomas Tuchel and Pep Guardiola, and beat Dortmund in that final. He beat Barca 3 times last season. 3 times he beat Barca. What Barca did this season to Madrid, he did it last season to Barca. He did that. He also beat Girona, who were actually good last year, twice and spanked them. Barca couldn't be here last year. He did it twice, and that was playing Tchouaméni at center back for one of those games. And he didn't really have a striker. And he dealt with a lot of injuries. We know Militao got hurt before the season. We know Courtois got hurt before the season, and he still managed to win them the UCL. Against all odds, if you want to call that. I know Madrid are always really good in the UCL, no matter who the fuck they have. But still, man, nobody. If you look at that squad on paper, no one would say, yeah, that's a team that's going to win the UCL and go through City and go through Bayern Munich. And he did that. So I don't think one bad season should tarnish his legacy at Madrid. That's not even to mention what he did in 2021, 2022 when Madrid won the UCL in Paris and beating Jurgen Klopp in that final and beating Pep Guardiola in that semi-final and going through Chelsea, the defending champions, in those quarterfinals and beating that super team in PSG in the round of 16. And again, people could call it individual brilliance. Bro, if you don't think Ancelotti had tactics back then or he wasn't a good manager back then when he won all those games, I don't know what to tell you, man. The guy did do that. We cannot take that away from him. But now, talking about this season, because obviously it matters now, he's been whack. He's honestly been whack. And if you think Ancelotti's been good this year, you're smoking dick. I don't know what to tell you, man. He has not been good. He's been outcoached so many times this year. Hansi Flick outcoached him 3 times. And it's probably going to happen a 4th time in May. Fonseca for Milan outcoached them. Fonseca, who lost his job, by the way, he outcoached Carlo Ancelotti. Beat him 3-1 at the Bernabeu. Milan went into the Bernabeu. A shitty Milan team, by the way. A terrible Milan team. And they beat Real Madrid 3-1. He got outcoached by Arne Slot. He got outcoached by Mikel Arteta. That happened. And like I said, this Madrid team a lot of times has no cohesion. It seems like the players don't know what they're supposed to do on the pitch. You know what I mean? So I understand why they're letting him go. I get it. Trust me, I do. But I don't think one season, my point is, everything I said before, I don't believe one season should tarnish his overall legacy at Madrid. Because I do believe he's their greatest ever manager. And again, Madrid fans might not give a fuck who I believe is their greatest ever manager. But I'm just giving you guys my opinion. Okay, I turned on the camera and I started talking. Sue me, alright? Fuck you guys. Anyway, and I'm kidding. Not fuck you guys. I don't think nobody really cares about that. But anyway, my point is, I think that this season has been inexcusable by him. But I think overall, when you look at his legacy at Madrid, the guy's been amazing, man. And again, this season, I don't think it's all on him. Because if you look at a guy like Kylian Mbappe, coming into the year, he wasn't great at the Euros. Last year in the UCL, he wasn't great. If you look at how he performed with Messi and Mbappe and with Messi and Neymar, everybody blamed Neymar and everybody blamed Messi for that failed big 3. But the common denominator in all that is Kylian Mbappe. He goes to all these teams, he forms a big 3, and it never seems to work out. Is he pressing? Because I don't see him press. Is Vinicius Jr. pressing this season? Is that instruction from Ancelotti? Did he instruct Bellingham to fucking emote in the middle of the pitch when Cubarsí intercepted that ball in the El Clásico? No. He didn't instruct him to do that. A lot of this falls on the players as well. But again, maybe the players are just not in tune with this message anymore. And that's fine. Sometimes the message from a manager grows stale no matter how much he's won for you. Maybe last year, every time Ancelotti said something to them in the dressing room, they wanted to run through a brick wall for him. And now every time they say something, they rather go to the bathroom and watch, I don't know, porn. They rather jerk off. I don't even know why that's the first thing I thought of. Oh my god, I'm actually fucking disgusting. I don't even know why I thought of porn. Anyway, my point is, maybe now whenever Ancelotti talks to them at halftime, they don't give a fuck. They're like, oh, whatever, old man. Go take your meds. Go chew your gum. But again, I think Madrid are making the right decision letting him go because I think that he's just simply not good enough for the job anymore. But I think that saying that this whole season has been on Ancelotti and that he only gets by with individual brilliance and that's how he's gotten by his whole career as a manager is stupid. You don't win 5 UCLs just based off individual brilliance, bro. You don't just do that. That makes no sense to me. That makes no sense to me. So, again, I think that the guy is an all-time great of the game, and now he's going to go to his new chapter in Brazil. But before we talk about what I believe he could do for Brazil, let's talk about who Madrid could possibly bring in as manager. I think Raul is obviously a candidate for them, who's coaching the Castilla team, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm not really too in tune with the Madrid youth system, but I think he's coaching Castilla, and they could possibly bring in, obviously, the main candidate is Xabi Alonso. If they're bringing Xabi Alonso, that team is going to be scary, bro, because Xabi Alonso is a guy who has a clear style of play, and he's a young, hungry manager who has... I mean, he's great, bro. I mean, the guy he won Invincible with Leverkusen, and you know, he if it wasn't for them losing the Europa League to Atalanta, I mean, we're talking about one of the best seasons the team has had in recent history. And again, he did that with Leverkusen. That team is not as good as Real Madrid. So if he goes to Real Madrid and he has the likes of Mbappe, and he has the likes of Vini, and he has the likes of Bellingham, and who knows if Rodrigo's going to be there next season, but maybe Rodrigo stays, and they're going to bring in Trent, and maybe they're bringing a couple of signings to reinforce that squad because they need to reinforce that squad because that squad is simply not good enough. Then we could be looking at Madrid, what we thought they were going to be this season. We could be talking about them being that potentially next season. And we maybe don't see them losing 3 El Clásicos to Barcelona. Because that's really unacceptable. It's really unacceptable that Ancelotti lost 3 El Clásicos to Barcelona, and it's probably going to be 4. I'm pretty sure they're going to lose in the El Clásico in La Liga in a couple weeks from now. So again, if they're bringing Carlo Ancelotti, If they bring in Xabi Alonso, sorry, I would honestly, I'm not gonna say I'm scared as a Barca fan because we have the Flickinator who no mortal is a threat to the Flickinator. That man he's ridiculous. So I'm not really scared. I'm done being scared by Madrid and Mbappe and this whole fucking team. But it'll be frightening. It'll be frightening. You know what I mean? Not scared, but I wouldn't be scared, but it'll be frightening. That's the same word, but it sounds better. But yeah, man, if they bring in Xabi Alonso, it'll be interesting to see what that team can do. And again, they have to bring in some new pieces. I don't think this whole team is going to get resolved by just adding Trent Alexander-Arnold because I don't think, he's a guy who, yes, while he's great going forward defensively, he's not really that much better than Lucas Vazquez. Now, I don't think Trent is the worst defender ever. But again, we're not talking about prime Ashley Cole here as a fullback. So we'll see what the team can do with Xabi Alonso if they do bring him in. Again, I think he's the number one candidate. I think Florentino Perez is going to try and get him. And I think that obviously we've seen reports from Leverkusen that if Xabi Alonso, they've come to an agreement that if Xabi Alonso wants to leave for Real Madrid, then they have a mutual agreement he can leave, and they won't begrudge him. They'll let him leave, happily. So they're probably going to bring in Xabi Alonso, and we'll see how that works out for them. But yeah, man, that's going to be. I think that team is going to be a lot better next year with a new voice and a new manager because while I do think that Carlo Ancelotti is still, a guy who, well, I do think that he was disrespected this season by Madrid fans, and I don't think it was all his fault, like I've mentioned already in this video. I do think that, like I said multiple times, this message grew stale. Now, we got to talk about Ancelotti and possibly him going to Brazil. What does this mean for Brazil? Because Brazil have been shit over the past 7-8 years, like I said. A team that, they've made one World Cup semifinal since 2002. Since they won that World Cup, obviously against Germany and South Korea, they've made one semifinal since then. 2006 quarterfinals, 2010 quarterfinals, 2014 semifinals against Germany, but you got spanked 7-1, the biggest humiliation in the history of the World Cup. 2018 quarterfinals, you lose against Belgium. 2022 quarterfinals, you lose against Croatia. So only one season in the past, what would that be? 06, 10, bear with me here, 2014, 2018, 20. So in the past 5 World Cups, only one time they've managed to obviously get past the quarterfinals. Can Carlo Ancelotti get them through? I don't think so. I don't think they're going to win the World Cup with Ancelotti because I think that squad is so shit. That's not the same Brazil team that had Ronaldinho and had obviously Neymar and had Kaká and had, Ronaldo. And it's not the same team. That team is just simply not good enough. Now, obviously, he's familiar with some of the players, most notably Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo because obviously he's coached them for years at Madrid. But I don't know. I don't think Brazil's going to do anything at the World Cup. I think the best national team in the world right now, it's pretty clear it's Argentina. It's not France, it's Argentina. Scaloni and that team, whether they have Messi or not, they're the best national team in the world, and they've proved it over the past, 5 years. They should be the favorites going into the World Cup in the United States. Now, Brazil, with Ancelotti, they're going to be better because Ancelotti, like I said, is the greatest ever knockout style manager. He's the best knockout style manager I've ever seen. The man's won 5 UCLs. Okay, he's won 5 UCLs. So, in a one-off, in one game, can he outcoach a Thomas Tuchel? You better believe he can. Can he outcoach I'm blanking on this fucking guy's name for France. What's his name, bro? Somebody tell me what his name is. Deschamps, thank you. Thank you for telling me. Can he outcoach Deschamps? Yes, he can. Can he outcoach Scaloni? I doubt it, but he possibly can. Can he outcoach Luis de la Fuente? Yeah, he probably can. Can he outcoach Julian Nagelsmann? Probably, yeah, for one game. But again, those guys have better teams, so I don't think it's going to happen. But again, in one game, anything can happen. So we'll see what Ancelotti does for Brazil. I'm excited to see this because he's obviously never coached a national team before. He coached Everton, he coached Napoli, he coached Chelsea. I mean, the guy's been everywhere. He's been passed around more than a fucking blunt, man. Honestly, this guy, it's crazy how many teams he's coached. For such a great manager, he's coached so many teams. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Ancelotti. We'll see what he does for Brazil. And we'll see where Madrid go from here. Again, do I think that Madrid are right to let him go? Yes. I think it was time for him to leave. But I don't think it was all his fault this season. I think Madrid fans put too much of the blame on him because a lot of times it's easier to blame the coach than to blame the players because those players, you see them as star players, but are they doing what they're supposed to do? Are they pressing? Are they taking their chances? Are they defending as a unit? And if you look at this Madrid team this season, and I've watched literally every single minute of every single game they've played. I've missed one Barca game this season, and it was actually the first Barca game I missed in the past 5-6 years. Against Espanyol. That's the one Barca game I missed. I haven't missed a single Madrid game this year. I've actually watched more Madrid this season than Barca. You know how crazy that is for me? I've watched every minute of every game they've played. In the UCL, in the Copa del Rey, in La Liga, it doesn't matter. And I don't see a team that, was well coached, but I also don't see a group of players that played like they were supposed to play, if that makes sense. So that's just my thoughts on the situation. You guys can let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Tomorrow we will talk about the PSG Arsenal game, unless PSG win, and then in that case, I will not talk about the PSG Arsenal game. I'm sorry, PSG fans, you can continue to be upset, curse at me in French. I don't understand what you're saying. So if you keep talking to me in French, I don't understand what insults you're yelling at me. So it's irrelevant. You could be telling me I'm the sexiest man alive. I'm just gonna take it as that, okay? I'm going to take it as that. So that's my thoughts, man. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Real Madrid fans, how are you feeling about this news? Do you think I'm out of line talking about Ancelotti and what I'm saying? Do you guys think I'm correct? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I know I have a lot of Real Madrid fans that watch me. I want to know your guys' thoughts, man. Carlo Ancelotti's leaving. Who do you want to see come in? What's his legacy at Madrid? Let me know everything that I talked about. And Brazil fans, are you excited about him becoming your coach? Everybody, man, everybody, whatever team you support, a fan of a random team in Czechoslovakia, what do you think about Ancelotti? We don't discriminate here. Everybody, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And yeah, man, I love every single one of you, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace out.